So when you're servicing an AC system, guys, is just a vacuum test good enough? If you can't be bothered with the expense or you don't have access to nitrogen in order to pressure test it, is just a vacuum test good enough to convince yourself that the system is tight? Go ahead and fill it with refrigerant. Maybe sometimes, but certainly not all the time. Check it out. So I was just out here mucking around a wee bit earlier with my son's car here, guys. I actually changed this O-ring. It's leaking from the liquid line down the condenser, which is down in this area here. I'll see if I can dig up the footage from the video that I shot last year. So here's just a wee clip for the video. And there's the line there, and you can see it's leaking, right? It's under nitrogen pressure there, and I'm just bubble testing it. So again, this is my son's car, guys, as I'm saying in the video there. Let me shut that off. I have two SX4s that are even the same color. They look virtually identical. This is not the car that just got a compressor a short time ago, right? Different car completely. Same model. This one's a two-wheel drive, mine's an all-wheel drive. So don't confuse the two. This is not the one that had the compressor. This is not the one that I replaced the condenser on. This is a separate car completely. This condenser coil is really shot. It's beat to all hell, but he's only driving it for one summer, and of course he's broke. I'm no much better. So if we can get him some cooling for the remainder of the summer, so much the better. But this is an interesting scenario where I've pulled a vacuum on this, guys. It's been under vacuum test for 5 minutes there, as you can see, and it has been pretty much rock solid vacuum wise. There's the trend line. So it's been holding vacuum nicely. So I'm going to let it go to about 20 minutes. Then we'll put it under some nitrogen pressure and see if we get as lucky. Okay, so swapped over a nitrogen. Got 100 pounds of pressure in it. Let's see how it does with that. This gauge is relatively accurate. We'll just let this stabilize for about 5 minutes, guys, and then we'll do a pressure leak check on it. You might be wondering, well, why didn't I do the pressure first if you have to pull a vacuum after the fact? Well, I've had trouble with holding pressure, so that's why I've done it this way. So this is why a vacuum test is probably not good enough in most instances, guys. Right? You might get lucky and it might suffice, but not the case here. So you can see in the space of 10 minutes, we've lost 2.1 psi from the start point. So there's the black line actually shows you the pressure itself, which is currently at 97.8 psi, and the delta P from the starting point. So it's just plunging, right? So there's absolutely no point in gassing this vehicle up. It's still leaking. Yes, the one leak is fixed. I bubble tested the leak where the O-ring was, but I think similar to my own car, with 300,000 and change on the engine, on the vehicle, not the compressor itself. It's not obviously working all the time, but that's a lot of hours of operation for it's the same compressor as this, right? Matsushita. Behind the clutch, there's a shaft seal. I suspect that's where this is leaking as well. It makes sense if it's a lip seal of sorts. I suspect, I don't know the actual seal, the labyrinth seal, or it's possible, I suppose, but I suspect it's just a lip seal. So that when there's vacuum, it pulls the seal tight against the shaft, and it's a tight system. Under pressure, the lip blows out and it's leaking. That's just a suspicion. I don't know that for a fact, guys, but I know it's not holding pressure. I know there's no point in gassing this up, right? So I hope you got something out of this, guys. I wouldn't call it a repair video, but just making the point that you really need to do both in order to get a comprehensive impression of whether the system is a tight system. That's it. Cheers.